Hey everyone, I'm Kevin with JcrOffroad. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the assembly and installation of our Bronco cargo floor. Now to start things off, we're going to be assembling the actual frame that the floor panels are going to fasten to. So you kind of see all the parts we have laid out here, corner braces, hardware. You have both the left and right side, what will essentially be the front and back, and then one center section. So we'll start out by grabbing one side as well as the front. I'll show you how these go together with one of the corner braces, so I'll get a few of these other pieces out of the way. So essentially we're just assembling a large rectangle here with this frame. You're going to need to determine what's going to be the inside and outside of your frame rails. To do that, you're just going to be looking for these two small holes about an inch apart here. Those are going to bolt to the corresponding holes here on the edge of the side assemblies. So you can figure that out, get these lined up. Make sure on the sides that the smaller end of these teardrop sections are facing in toward the center of the rectangle. And then it's just a matter of finding the 1/4 button head hardware to bolt them together using those small holes. So once you get that hardware in place, this is kind of what it looks like from the top side. I can kind of flip it over here now so you can see those button head bolts running through here with the flange locking nuts on the inside of the rail. So once you have this loosely assembled, the next step will be to install these corner braces. Basically, you're going to tuck this end down inside of the front rail assembly, and then this flange here will bolt to the inside edge of this outside rail. So this again is going to use 1/4 button head hardware. So I will loosely install the hardware here through the side rail, and then I'll flip this over so you can kind of see the bottom of this other flange. So when I flip this over, you can now see this bracket bolting to the inside of this outer flange. And then we'll just run the button head from the outside in here and install that nut on the inside. So now following those steps, you can work your way all the way around this outside frame assembly, get that rectangle built with the corner braces in place. Now once you've done that correctly, you'll wind up with the rectangle frame that looks about like this. And now you're ready to install this center section. So this is going to install much like those outside rails. It's going to use button head hardware through the end and through the flange here on this outside rail assembly. The only critical part is that you pay attention to kind of the orientation of these teardrop sections. You can see one end does not have those teardrop, this end does. So whichever end you put these on is going to be the front of this frame assembly. Then once you have this frame completely assembled, go ahead and grab a 5/32 hex and tighten up all that hardware. So now with the frame tight, we're going to have to do a little bit of disassembly in the vehicle before this can be installed. So here inside the vehicle, you're going to see these 4 tie-down hooks that your Bronco is equipped with. Basically, we're going to be removing those, which will then allow us to remove this rear floor section. For that, there's just going to be a little tab on the front of this plastic cover that you can push in on, which allows you to pop this up and out. Do that on all 4 of those hooks. Then you'll need a 10mm socket to remove the 2 screws holding each of those hooks in place. Now you will want to save these as you'll be reinstalling our frame assembly using the factory hardware. Once you have that hardware removed, you can simply lift these hooks out of the way. Then starting here in the center, simply by lifting that pull strap and gaining access to kind of grab a hold of this floor, you can lift it up and out of the vehicle. So now with the factory floor out of the way, you can grab the frame that you assembled earlier, paying attention to make sure that these teardrops are going in toward the front, and you can begin sliding this in place. You might have to kind of go in at an angle like I'm doing here, and then kind of lay this down flat. Now as this is going in, you're just going to want to make sure that you get the front kind of down and centered first, and then pushing forward and down, this should kind of snap into place. Once you have that snap down in, you'll grab 4 of those factory bolts remaining from the tie down hooks, and in each of these corner brace locations, you can find those factory threaded holes and begin threading those back into place. Once you have all 4 of those corner bolts loosely started, grab your 10mm socket and tighten those up. Once the frame's bolted in place, you can then grab one of your 2 floor panels and begin installing these. Now it doesn't matter which side these go on, so just pick a side and get it laid in here, and then you can start lining up the 6 mounting holes that are going to hold this in place. For that, there's going to be 2 holes at each end of the frame, as well as 2 right here toward the center, and then you'll be bolting this down with more 1/4-20 button heads. With that first panel still loose, we'll throw this remaining panel in on the other side. And that's going to fasten down exactly the same way. Once you have both of those down in place, you can adjust them for any minor changes in alignment, and then with a 5/32 hex, tighten these down. Now once you have all of that tight, your basic floor installation is complete. Now as far as how you're going to mount any accessories, it's really going to depend on what you're installing at the given time. Essentially, you are going to have to loosen or at least temporarily partially remove this floor panel, get the accessories bolted in place from underneath so that you have access to all of these slots, and then simply set it back down and bolt it back in. So for specific examples of that on both our drawer system or our fridge slides, you can check out their respective product videos for a little bit more detailed information. So at this point, our installation is complete. Now if you have any questions about this floor install or any other product we offer at JCR Off-Road, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can send us an email at info@jcroffroad.com or give us a call at 269-353-1184.